Our SickKids hospital is recovering from a second cybersecurity incident in recent weeks. This after being offered a solution to its problem from the very people that carry out these kind of attacks. Brian Higgins is a security expert, cybersecurity expert, based in Ottawa, joins us live now to talk more about this. Brian, appreciate the time this morning. Let's start with this target here. You know, we hear about cyber attackers going after for-profit companies or companies that maybe have, poor environmental records, etc. Why do they go after places like hospitals?
I don't know if hospitals necessarily a target. The ransomware is just such a huge business. I mean, it's in the billions, and there's a whole economy with it, with people that create software, people that distribute it, people that collect money, and it's all optimized to getting revenue. So it's like sprayed out everywhere, and when it clicks, people try and milk it and get money from it. So it's usually accidental that they're hit. This case is very unusual when someone from the hacker community pops up and says, oh, oops, we didn't mean to hit a hospital. Let me try and help. And that's very unusual, and that's still, I think, a little suspicious. But hospitals are more vulnerable than a lot of other organizations, so they tend to get hit. We tend to hear about them, and they do a lot of damage.
I made a bit of an oopsie as I introduced you. I said Brian Higgins instead of Brian O. Higgins, so let me just correct myself right there, Brian.
Thanks, all good.
In the meantime, let's sort of circle back to this, though. What do you make of a ransomware group trying to now bring forward this decryptor? You've alluded to it already here to sort of solve the problem. To me, that seems like the thief sort of trying to return your key, but how do I know they haven't made a copy or something like that after breaking into your home?
Well, you don't at all. It's so I say very unusual. I'm thinking it's a little bit suspicious. It's possibly helpful. It may be helpful to a very small degree to the hospital for recovery. It may be very helpful. Whatever the case is, they've got to get their systems up, and they have to clean them and make sure the malware is not there. You don't want to restore something with malware that it could later be reactivated, as you said, with another copy of the key, something like that. So whatever the case is, they need to do a full recovery. If this helps them a little bit in that journey for recovery, I think that's great. But I don't know if it makes a lot of difference. Right. Every situation is different, so we really don't know the details here.
Brian, I can only sort of start to imagine the kind of effort and work that would be involved in kind of cleaning systems, especially of a place like the SickKids hospital. Like, what kind of work, what kind of hours are we talking about to sort of make sure that the code and everything else involved is spick and span, as it were?
Oh yeah, so I mean, your mileage may vary, right? Hospitals are big, complex. Maybe the systems that have patient information they're usually not the issue. The patient information is very well encrypted and protected, and they can recover quickly from those standard office IT systems. But hospitals have so much equipment that is all about keeping operating systems running, keeping patients alive on the in the recovery areas, and these things are hard to kind of patch, and they're sort of sealed up in software. Once they're approved for medical use, you can't just change it and patch it and do things, easily. So in some cases, it takes a year to update software in these devices. In other cases, they have to, figure out how this malware got in and kind of block it.
Right. It's not clear at this point, Brian, perhaps it is to you, but from what I understand, that the attack on December the 18th may not necessarily be connected to this recent situation of the cyber hack as well. But it leads to the issue of hospitals being targets and sort of chaos and everything else that's gone on during the past couple of years of the pandemic, et cetera. Do you feel like governments or officials are paying enough attention to cybersecurity at hospitals that are so, as you just highlighted there, the level of sensitivity there? I mean, these are people in places that are saving lives.
Yeah, clearly when they're hit, it's really bad. The trouble is hospitals have, it would be great if they could invest tons and hire a lot of cybersecurity people and try and fight this, but they have limited budgets and they have to fund operating rooms, and they always have that tension. So there's kind of never enough resources for these things. And right now it's ransomware. It's been the #1 issue for a couple of years, probably maybe a couple more years to run before it sort of ebbs economically. But it's just a real problem, and everyone has to do their best.
All right, I suppose we can expect to see more of this then, and perhaps more conversations with you, cybersecurity expert Brian O. Higgins, joining us live this morning on CB24 Breakfast. Do appreciate the time. Thanks so much.